before I do pickup, I wanted to do a video of what I have in her airport bag and what I have packed, and then I will also tell y'all what Breeder has packed. So we both pack a bag. But first in my bag is her settle mat. This is like, if you unroll it, it's like 4 feet by 4 feet, or maybe 4 feet by 5 feet. And this is so between planes or while we're waiting for our flight, she can come out of her airline carrier, stretch her legs, sprint around. She can chew on her chews, and she's still above the ground. She's still off the ground because she's not gotten all of her shots yet. So this just lowers the exposure to germs that are just on the airport floor. Next is I have a little fan, and then I have her Ziploc bag. So what I'm gonna do is right before the flight, I'm gonna ask that these freezer bags be filled with ice, and then that goes like next to her carrier in the plane. So between the freezer bags and the fan, between the ice and the fan, I'm hoping that she stays just cool and comfortable during the flight. Next is I have my GoPro material. I'm gonna be filming in the airport, which I'm really, really excited about. Me and Breeder think that we have figured out a way to film through security, which would be incredible. So hopefully that works out. I would love to show that part of the process because it's very, very difficult to find footage of people going through security, and especially with puppies. So I'm really hoping that we get that. I also have a tug toy for her. This is like specifically for puppy teeth. Tug toy. This is her kibble. Inside of this is her actual kibble from her breeder, and then kind of dispersed throughout are air-dried treats of the same protein that is in her kibble. So her kibble is chicken and oatmeal, and then the air-dried food is just chicken. It's just air-dried chicken. And also I have a Himalayan yak chew, and then I have ligament sticks, bully sticks. So if she's getting like fussy during a flight or seeming like she needs to be working on something, then she will be able to chew those. I have my stuff, my glasses, my wallet, and things like that. And then in Breeder's bag is gonna be her puppy binder, which has all of her records. It has her registrations, all of her vet visits thus far, and then other material that Breeder sends home with puppy parents. And then on top of that, she has, or her harness, she has a slip lead. She's coming with the Breeder's information tags on her. She's also coming with like poop bags, chew toys, tugs, and then like a blanket with mom's scent on it and with like sibling scent on it. So she's coming with her own like tote bag of stuff. So she has that, I have this, and then she is coming in her airline carrier, and we will see her tomorrow. We will see her tomorrow. She is, I think, really set up for success. I think that she's gonna do great. She's so special, and she's absolutely brilliant, and I think that she's gonna do amazing. And I think that that's it. We are 24 hours out, and I'm freaking out. I'm wigging out, you guys. Okay, she's getting walked right now, and she'll be here in under an hour. And I'm freaking out. Okay, bye. So this is before Honey got to the airport. Her breeder made sure that she got to go to the bathroom, get water. She got to run around a little bit with her uncle, that was Yeti. And then I was super, super fortunate. I asked my airline for a companion pass that she could accompany me to my gate. This is Honey's breeder. Her name is Sam Merriman. And she knows Sam the best, and so Sam walked her through security where there may be some added stress. She went through the same metal detector that you see wheelchairs and strollers go through, not the ones where you have to stand and put your hands above your head. And then something just really important as we were going through the airport is we wanted to reduce as much contact with other people and dogs as humanly possible, while also giving Honey enough freedom of movement that she didn't feel trapped or overly anxious when she didn't need to be. So nobody was allowed to pet her, and if she needed to go to the bathroom, we put a puppy pad down in like a family bathroom. That way she was able to move around a little bit more, and she wasn't exposed to the service dog bathroom where a bunch of dogs go to the bathroom. And this was me meeting her for the very first time. This was right before we went on our flight. And she's just this perfect little puffball. She was perfect. She's amazing. And I'm so unbelievably thankful. Her breeder did a ton of work with her in the airport bag, and this process just went super smooth. She laid down in her bag. She's very used to it. She's taken a ton of naps in it, and so she was just chewing on her little bone while I was navigating flying with a puppy for the first time.
And I will link Sam's YouTube. She kind of shows the behind the scenes process of how much she truly did getting Honey accustomed and socialized to her airport bag. So this was as little stress as possible on the actual day of flying. And then what you're seeing here is Honey's a long-haired German Shepherd. So I got her a couple bags of ice to put next to her carrier and then a little stroller fan to make sure she didn't overheat on the flight. And she was a bit stressy. I asked the flight attendants if I could pull her up into the seat, and they were fine with it. The person next to me was fine with it. And so she spent the most of the flight just sleeping on my lap. She stayed most of her body in the kennel, but her little head was out on my lap. During the layover, I took her to a secluded part of the airport. We're just kind of in a corner. I laid down her socialization mat and just a puppy pad, and I just let her kind of choose what she wanted to do during our layover. And for our next flight, while we were in a layover, I kind of realized that I had two options here. We could either board first or board last. And during this layover, I realized that I kind of had the option. I could ask to be boarded either first or last. Since our next flight is a bit longer, I think it's 3 hours, I decided to ask to be boarded last. That way she would have much time out of her carrier as possible during this layover. In total, I think this layover was an hour or maybe an hour and a half, and we just played around. We played games, we played tug. She had chews and treats out the wazoo, so we really just kind of did whatever she wanted to do. It was Honey choose her own adventure kind of layover. And then in this next clip, we just played the name game, where I called her name, I ran away from her a little bit. When she caught up to me, she got food and a reward, and then I ran away from her again. I thought that this might help get a little extra wiggles out. She had a bit more room to run around and be free. But this segment here is not edited in any way. It's not sped up, it's not shortened. This is really what this moment kind of looked like for us. It was very slow and fun, and I stopped while we were still having fun. I didn't ask her for obedience or for attention. I think that that would be silly to ask that of her in such a new and potentially scary environment, but we did have fun playing our little name game, and then while we were still having fun right here, I decided we were going to be all done with it. For flight number 2, she was a little bit more whiny. She had a little bit harder time settling, which makes sense. I mean, we had already spent 2 hours in the air at this point. And so when she seemed like she really needed a break from her kennel, I took her into the bathroom. I put a puppy pad down. You can see how warm she is here, and she's panting. Oh, my sweet thing. So we hung out in the bathroom for a brief second, and then she went back into her airline carrier. We went back to our seats and finished out our flight. And the rest of the video here is just our first 24 hours at home. She got to meet Dad, we went home, we didn't do just an ounce of training. I kept everything as similar as possible and as low stress as possible to what her breeder was doing, and so she had dinner out of a bowl. Here she was a little bit frightened of her reflection. And we are just in decompression mode. I'm not asking her to do anything. There's no expectations for her behavior tonight. She is beyond exhausted. And so for the full first day at home, the first 24 hours since she touched paws to our house was just decompression. It was whatever she wanted to do. We did it as long as we weren't building, crazy habits. She's not allowed to chew furniture, but whatever she wanted to do, that's what we did. Oh my god, how cute is that little Earth Day baby? But last, and certainly not least, was her very, very first vet visit. This was a happy visit. I thought, potentially we were getting shots today, but likely not. I booked this vet visit months ago and asked if we could just have a fun time with her primary vet. And she has been set up for success. We played, she's eaten, she's gotten water, so she doesn't have any needs that need to be met right now. She's not needing anything. And so the vet came in, he got to kind of play around with her. She eventually fell asleep while he was talking to us, and that's like one of his favorite things is when dogs fall asleep. And so we were all just very, very thrilled by how well she did at this vet today. And I am super behind getting this video uploaded. We've had her about 3 weeks at this point, and this is still pretty much how she reacts to strangers. She is kind of interested in them, might go up and sniff. She sometimes initiates an introduction and sometimes not, but she's just very kind and friendly and a perfect puppy. And oh my goodness, just look how tired this sweet thing is. When she is tired, she'll put herself in her kennel, in her crate, and she does not want to come out of it until she's ready to come out of it, which is totally fine. When she's in her crate, I don't pull her out of it. She just kind of will decide for herself when she's all done. Also, that little blue blanket that you see in there has the scent from her mom and her siblings. That was from her breeder's house. She also still loves this little patch of clovers. That's one of her favorite spots in the whole yard. Even like 3 weeks later, that's the spot where she'll get zoomies, and then she'll run and just flop down right in the clovers. During this first day, everything that came from Breeder's house I left out for her if that smell was potentially comforting, or sometimes she would kind of walk herself into her airline bag because that was normal for her and that was something that she was used to. So I left all of the stuff that came from Breeder out so that way she would be maybe reassured and comforted by the smell. But she was perfect. Her first 24 hours at home were perfect. I couldn't have been happier with them. I made sure that she got a ton of sleep after her very stressful experience of flying and leaving her breeder and leaving her mom and her siblings. We just made sure that she was extremely well rested, and then when she wanted to play, we played with her so she didn't have a ton of independent play. She got to do a lot of bond building with us. And then I just had these frozen things prepped if she needed something to lick or something to soothe. Then this is just her kibble in water mushed up and frozen. So yeah, it was perfect.